Hey, 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 you know what it is. You know where you is. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It is that time. Once again, it is the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes. The bonus track. Yes. This is the place where possibilities become perspective perspective, guys. Welcome once again into the I Am the Possible universe. Thank you so much for rocking with me once again in the place to be. Because you know, we got some amazing things to see, and they're all about you. Guys, before we jump into this, let's pause for the cause. You is the cause. And actually, today we're going to be talking about a cause, and that's going to be right there in my outline today. So I'm super excited. But before we jump into any of that, guys, I want to thank you. I want to celebrate you. I want to salute. I want to shout out. I want to say big ups. I want to spread love, show love, give love to each and every one of you guys for rocking with me, for every email, for every text, for every question, for every comment, for every share, for every like, for just engaging and for being present, for just showing up and showing your support to me, to this process, to this project, to this platform, to this ministry, to my heart, man. Because this is something that I really love to do, and something I really have decided to invest myself in. So when you engage with this podcast, you're engaging with me. When you support this podcast, you're supporting me. So I just wanted to thank you guys. As I always do, man, your presence is the greatest present any of you guys could ever give me. So thank you so much for rocking with me once again in the I Am the Possible universe. Guys, let's just jump right into it. Today, I want to talk to my brothers. Today, I want to talk to men. Today, I want to talk specifically to fathers, and even more specifically to young fathers. I was once a young father. I believe I still am a young father, relatively, right? I'm 47, but there was once a time when I was a 23-year-old, father. And so I know a little something about being a young father. I have 4 children myself, 4 beautiful, amazing, articulate, smart, genius children. And I'll be getting more into the genius with more and more content to come, but not the genius you may be thinking about. Not just this whiz kid, picture perfect idea of genius, but I have discovered that we are all geniuses in our own right. So I have no problem calling my children geniuses. I'm a genius. You're a genius. We're all geniuses. Okay. And again, I'll be sharing more about that in future content. But yeah, I want to take from my last 20 plus years of experience, and now I can start to say expertise in being a father. Not that I'm perfect, not that I know everything, not that I have the Bible on, child raising, but I have been asked many, many times, to be honest, by many people to write a book on parenting, to do a class on parenting, to just share with other young men that are parents, right? To share and to pour into other people through my own personal experience and now my own personal expertise. I guess we've done a good job, my wife and I, in raising our 4 children by the grace of God and by the wisdom of God. We've received God's grace, and we've applied God's wisdom in and through our parenting. And so we've come to a place now that I think I can begin to share on it and speak on it even more. But I have a heart for men, and I have a heart for young brothers that are just trying, man. I see your try. I see your effort. I know your heart because I've had that heart, and I know what it means to be a young man not knowing his way, a young man just in this world, just trying to get by, just trying to make ends meet, as we say. We're not necessarily up to no wrong, or up to no madness, but we just don't know. We just don't have a guide. We don't have a step by step. God's way of doing life and God's way of parenting was never maybe taught to us. And The way that we should go was never really explained to us. No one gave us a blueprint. No one gave us a how-to manual on being a father, being a dad, being a husband, being a man. We just were kind of thrown into this world, and it's many times it at least feels like it's sink or swim, right? And so today, and I want to continue to pour into my men specifically. I really feel that maybe this is the way that the Lord is leading me, and so I'm going to lean in, and I'm going to follow the Spirit, man. And so right now the Spirit is telling me to lean into my men, lead into my brothers, and to just begin to share, man, out of my own life. And so today I'm entitling this one, and you guys know on YouTube I may switch the title up a little bit, right? Because the analytics and all this other stuff. But again, always, I want to give you the summary of my title. 3 things every father needs to raise successful children. 3 things every father needs to raise or parent successful children. I think that's one of the universal desires of fatherhood. I want my children to do well. I want my children to succeed. I want my children to out-succeed me. I want my children to do better than me. I want my children to have a better life than I had. I want my children to have a better upbringing than I had. I know that was always my desire, right? And so today, when we talk about the 3 things that every father needs to raise or to parent successful children, I want you to understand that it's in the context of modeling. I believe with all my heart that you cannot lead others effectively until you learn how to lead yourself. You cannot lead others effectively until you first learn how to lead yourself. And so as we learn how to lead ourselves, then we learn how to lead others. Now, for our men of faith, hear my heart. This is not overstepping God. This is not outside of the structure of being led and being fed of God. What I'm saying is self-leadership has to do with managing your life, your economics, your household, your mind, your body, right? With and under the guidance and governance of God. Okay. So it's not separate from God, but it's you being being skilled and strategic in how you go about leading your own personal life with respect to God as the ultimate leader and guide of your life. So without that, with that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into this. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to share, and I wrote this down in my notes. This is something that I was given a couple of years ago. I felt like God had given me this revelation. Kids do what they see you do more than they do what they hear you say. Children, or if you want to say kids, right? Children do more. Kids do what they see you do more than they do what they hear you say. What I mean by that is that we are to be models. This is in the context of modeling a life before your children. See, many times men think, and we're raised to think, and we believe because culture tells us that we are to be these dictators. We may not say it, but we behave as dictators. We behave as these little tyrants. We want to demand and command our children. I once heard this, and it totally changed the game for me. It was a total game changer for me, and I forgot where I heard it, but I needed it when I heard it. I needed it. Children are not born to you; they're born through you. I'll say that one One more time for the people in the back. Children are not born to you, they're born through you. And what the essence of that was that they're not your property. You see, they're not your property. Sometimes we like to treat our children like they're our property, like they're our instrument or tool, right? And we just want to control them, and we just want to tell them what to do all the time. And that's not the order of things. Even the Bible talks about children are a gift. Children are given to us as a gift. So our perspective of a child, our children should be, wow. We should be in amazement. Wow, I get to be an example. I get to be a model before my children. I get to model what manhood looks like. I get to model what a parent looks like. I get to model what a husband looks like. I get to model what a respectable, responsible citizen looks like. I get to model that. I get to display that before my children each and every day of my life, right? Instead of being a dictator, waking up with the intention of directing and demanding and, controlling their steps, you wake up with the joy of getting to display in and through your life what you desire for them to replicate and to model, with the wisdom and the respect that they are their own person. So they don't have to be a carbon copy of you. They don't have to be a mini me. They don't have to clone you. But it is the virtue. It is the essence. It is the nature, right, that you live with and live out in front of them, that you have the hope of replicating in and through them. It's the quality of person that you get to be in front of them, with the hope that they will then replicate that and be that kind of quality individual in and through the spaces and places in which their lives unfold before them. And so it's in that we have this great gift. But it's not in dictating and demanding, controlling and commanding. It's this joy of being able to communicate with God and be such a man in front of your children that they would pick up on it, and they too would then replicate that in their lives and in their families. It's so not about trying to just control every little thing that they do. And I'm gonna just throw in a little side note. Because this is this is just a topic I love talking about. The other side note is man, you got to trust God. Like, you ain't God. Like God's got your child, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, do the best you can do, and like for real, let go and let God. God's got your child, man. Right? You can't control everything anyway, and you can't be everywhere anyway. So stop worrying about them. Stop stressing. Pray for them each day. Do the best you can each day, and then let them go. So again, I said all of this to say, and I'm going to read it verbatim from my paper because I haven't memorized it yet. Kids do what they see you do more than what they hear you say. Kids listen with their eyes more than their ears. Kids listen more with their eyes than with their ears. They're watching what you do more than they're listening to what you say. You may say, clean up your room. That's what you said. But they're watching your room look like a mess. You may say, pick up after yourself. But they're watching you leave dishes all around the house. You may say, be responsible and do X, Y, and Z. And they're watching you take shortcuts all throughout your life. You may say to them, go for it, believe in yourself, try. And they see you giving up on your dreams. They're watching what you do far more than they're listening to what you say. So if you want to have real influence, if you want to have successful children, If you want to have children that are going to go out in this world and affect change, they're going to go out in this world and be responsible, respectable citizens. They're going to go out in this world and represent your family well. Then you're going to have to worry about governing you, managing you. Okay? And these are the three things out of my own personal life that have led to the greatest transformation. These are the three things as I reflect. How did I get here? What did I do? What were the elements in my life? Well, here they are. Number one, every man needs a cause. Every man needs a cause. Number two, every man needs control. Every man needs control. And number three, every man needs community. Every man needs community. Now let me break these down. Cause. Think of it in the context of vision. The Bible says that those, and I'm going to just say men without a vision, they perish. Men without a vision cast off restraints. Men without a vision cast off restraints and they perish because they have nothing to fight for. See, vision gives you something to aim at. Vision gives you a target. Vision puts something on the line. As one of my close brothers from the church, Kevin LaCour, always says, skin in the game. Do you have skin in the game? Vision is skin in the game. The reason that the Bible says that you cast off restraints, in other words, you start living recklessly and wild, putting yourself in positions where you can get hurt and harmed on a regular basis. And the reason why you are destroyed, you perish, you die emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and sometimes even physically, because you don't have a vision, is because you don't have anything that you're fighting for. There's no incentive for you to protect yourself. Vision gives you incentive to guard yourself. Vision gives you incentive to protect yourself. Vision gives you incentive to make better decisions and make better choices. One of the things I pray every day for myself and for my family, Lord, bless us with wisdom onto every decision we make and onto every direction we take. Amen. That's a daily prayer of mine, a daily prayer, because I understand and I recognize that I have a vision that's counting on me to watch my steps. As the Lord orders them, I am to watch my steps. Now, this thing cause, it starts off with a vision, and I'm going to share a couple of stories. It's also a cause in the practical sense. One of my favorite quotes: men will work hard for money. Men will work even harder for other people. But men will work hardest of all for a cause. Something about a cause is something about having something greater than yourself on the line. Something that transcends you. Something that's going to be here after you're gone. Something that's going to outlive you. Some people call it a legacy. What are you going to do? Who are you going to be even when you're not here? So many people are inspired by videos, audio clips, and stories that are told by men who have long passed away, but they're still being change because their memory, their very memory, and the things that they left behind continue to echo into the future. Voice still being heard. And you and I have an opportunity to be that kind of man. Ooh, my goodness, that just gets me excited, man. Cause is also contribution. Every man innately, naturally, we want to stand for something. We want to matter. We want to mean something. So if you have a cause, then you have a contribution. You're contributing to something. Now, the first cause that I ever had, I'm going to share a couple of stories real quick, was the fact that I wanted to be in my son's life. I told you I was a 23-year-old father when we had our first son, little Treveal, and I was still running the streets. I was still on drugs. I was still selling drugs. I was still running the streets. I was still acting a fool, right? Still going to jail. I wasn't saying that I wanted to be a good father or that I even knew how to be a good father. But my vision, my intention, my cause was to simply be in my son's life, right? Many times I've told you guys these stories of not growing up with my father. And shout out to my father. Salute to my father, who I have a great relationship with today. God's reconciled us and brought us back together. And I have a beautiful relationship with my father, and I don't blame him for anything. We have been healed, and we are moving on together. We are, we are marching forward together. Yet the reality and the truth of my childhood was I wasn't raised by my father. He wasn't there at that time. And I didn't want that to be the narrative of my son. So my first vision, my first cause was to simply be in my son's life. And so when I was in jail facing 15 years, I had a decision to make. Do I follow Christ, who was offered to me on a Sunday morning in jail? And do I make a deal with the lawyer, right? That I had and with the plaintiff. And I chose to do that. I chose to do that because that meant I get out of jail. That meant that my record gets expunged. And that meant that I was able to, be in my son's life instead of doing 15 years for grand theft, right? So see how I was starting to make better decisions simply because I had a vision, a cause. The next thing was, after, coming to the Lord and getting saved and, joining the church, we moved out here to Southern California. And a couple of years later, God gave me the vision of iAMthepossible. I'm rocking some of the, some of that new iAMthepossible gear right now. Right. And so he gave me a vision of helping men, of helping people who didn't feel good about themselves, right? To see the possibilities that are within them. God gave me a vision of me and gave me a charge to help others see within themselves, see how great they are in and of themselves. I won't go too much into the vision, but iAMthepossible, this podcast, the work that I do, the mentoring of men, the ministry on Sunday mornings. I mean, this is everything that I do now. But I have a vision of helping people and seeing people see themselves in the best possible light. You feel me? Having the greatest imagination and the greatest image and the greatest idea of themselves. That's a vision that keeps me going, but it's also a vision that helps me to protect myself. And it is a vision as a father that my children have got to witness all of these years. They know my dreams. They see me going after my dreams. They see me doing these things. They see me on social media. They see me releasing these podcast episodes. They see me doing interviews with great people all around the world. They see me going after something. They see me trying each and every day to make a difference in this world. And it's influencing their decisions. It's influencing the way they think. They're starting to pursue their dreams. They're starting to think about, how God's going to use them. They're starting to make changes and make choices that are good for them. See, this is about modeling. You're going to win way more with this honey called modeling than you do with that vinegar called trying to dictate to them. So if you want them to be successful, you be successful. Be what you want them to be. Just worry about you, Dad. If you just worry about you, the children are going to be taken care of, man. All right. So that's a cause. All right. Number 2, man, let's get on this control thing. The second thing out of my life was control means a healthy concept and command of self. Right. You guys heard the story. 5 words that changed my life. Pastor Eric Brown, man. Treveal, you are a teacher. After a 15-minute message about Jesus, my first time ever teaching and preaching. That's what Pastor Eric said to me. Treveal, you are a teacher. And what it did was it gave me a healthy self-concept. That's a real thing. Concept, a self-concept. That was the first time that I thought about what I am, right? So that's when, I say, or people say, Mr. What, right? That's the first time that I understood the value of what I am, not just who I am or why I am, but the missing piece, the what I am. So I got a healthy concept of myself. And the way that this connects with control is the next thing, the healthy concept and command of myself through intrapersonal communication skills. It's called self-talk, the inner dialogue. Every man needs a healthy concept and a healthy command of himself. Having a healthy, positive self-image, believing that you are worth something, believing that your life has value and holds value, believing that your life matters and that you have meaning in this world. Knowing that, again, goes back to that protection, but it then causes you to walk a certain way. And I'm not here to judge you on any level, bruh, but I will say out of my own life, I stopped smoking weed because I'm somebody. I don't need to do that. I don't need to tear myself down. I stopped running the streets. I stopped looking at pornography. I stopped running up in buildings and robbing folks. I stopped doing all of the different things. And this isn't about right or wrong and being a sinner. And that's not the message. All I'm saying is that however you need to, however you take it, you start to clean up your life. You start to make better choices. And the things that you used to do, you don't do no more, because you're starting to see value in yourself. And when you see value in yourself and the concept of yourself is healthy, then your choices become healthy. And guess what? Your children are watching those choices. They're watching you become better. They're watching you evolve. They're watching you improve. They're watching you, elevate. They're watching you develop. They're watching, man. They're seeing it. They're witnessing it because they knew you when. They knew you when you was broke, and now they see you making six figures. They knew you when you didn't have nothing, and now they see you driving good. They knew you when you was acting like this, and now they see you straightening up. They see it, and it's influencing them, and it's inspiring them because you have a better image of yourself. And then the command of self, being able to govern your mind. I call it mental management, mind management. Okay. And that's what I coach brothers in, the mind management, the mental management. If you can learn how to really take better control of your mind, where the decisions are made and the choices are made, then you can better manage your life. And it's so fascinating and it's so amazing that God has gifted us and blessed us with the ability to understand how we work so that we can take better command over the things that we do, the things that we say, the things that we think. You feel me? And so I learned, man, about narratives and stories. I learned how I assign meanings to things. I learned how to improve my self-talk. I learned emotional intelligence. I learned how to not let my emotions run over me, but how to leverage them for my good and how to understand them, how to understand what I'm feeling and how to, move and manipulate that according to that which I need to achieve for that given moment or that given day. It's this idea where you're not like the rag doll. You're not thrown all over like life doesn't just throw you everywhere anymore. You feel in control. You feel good. You're more confident because you have the ability to manage your mind. That's the control that every man needs. And as you are, and this is what it really leads to, as you're more regulated, guess what happens? As the man is regulated, the wife or the girlfriend is regulated. The children are regulated. The home is regulated. The environment is regulated. The space and the place in which you and your family dwell is regulated. I'd even go on and say your whole doggone neighborhood is better regulated because you have chosen to be a man of peace, a man of substance, a man of temper, what's the word for it? Temperance, right? We know, well controlled, not flying off the handle, not easily angered, not all crazy in the head, but you're able to govern yourself, right? So that was something that I learned. I learned it through taking a coaching course. I learned it through reading the Bible. I learned it through prayer. I mean, again, I'm just flowing out of my heart, thinking back on what got me here. Okay. And I am inspired this morning. I am inspired to turn this into a more structured masterclass and a more structured presentation so that I can begin to really, really go a little deeper and really train more skills to better equip men. But in this podcast episode, I just want to kick it off with you guys. All right. So that's number 2, control. And then number three, we're wrapping it up. Number 3 is community, guys. Community. Every man needs community, and community represents consistent, constructive feedback loops. Consistent, constructive feedback loops. This means that you are not on an island. This means that you are not your own sounding board, as my wife likes to say, right? This means that you are getting healthy, constructive critiques. Feedback loops are nothing more than constructive critiques. We live in a world where people compare and they complain and they criticize and they just beat you down. Well, the community, now for me, the community started with the church, started in cell groups. It was something called a cell group back in Toledo. You got saved, you joined First Church, and before long, they plugged you into a cell group. A cell group was a group of, and it was a mix of married, non-married believers. And after church, we'd meet at someone's home. We'd either bring food or someone would cook. We'd sit around, we'd eat, we play games, we talk about the word that was preached. We shared our perspective on it. We prayed for one another. It was just a great time of building each other up, edifying each other. We were doing community. We were having community. And that was my first exposure to these feedback loops and these healthy critiques, because when you are, as they say, iron sharpens iron, well, iron can't sharpen iron from afar. If this hand is some iron and this hand is some iron, it needs to rub up against each other. It needs to get close. Iron can't sharpen iron like this. They need to get up close. And in these cell groups, we got up close. We shared our lives. We shared our struggles. We let people in. We became vulnerable. We became transparent. We let people know where we were. And we were honest, brutally honest at times. And everyone's intention was for the good. They weren't trying to gossip and tear you down. They were trying to build you up. So they would give you the best advice they could, and they would critique, and they would pray for you, right? So every man needs that community, consistent, constructive criticism, or in psychology, we call them feedback loops, right? Feedback loops are, if I do something in any context, if I do something, I need feedback. Was I successful? Did I do good? Where could I improve? How could I do that better? Where did I miss the mark? These critiques help you to further analyze your effort and your performance, or, whatever you did, however you executed on a given thing. Maybe you're trying out something and people can observe it, and then they can say, well, what we saw was this, this, and this. And then you can consider that and say, okay, well, next time I do it, I'll do it this way, right? It's you getting back some feedback, and it helps to build you up. It helps to build your spirit. It helps to build your morale, right? And your mentality about yourself and what you're able to do, right? And so the community does that. And so mine started with cell groups. And then secondly, mine started with personal mentorship. I've talked about this many times, many times. I have a mentor for every area of my life: spiritual, physical, financial. I have a different man, and that's God's grace and mercy, but it's also my intention. Okay. Because sometimes when we say it's by the grace of God and the mercy of God, sometimes it makes you feel like, well, if God doesn't do something miraculous for you, then he left you out. God's grace is for everybody. God's wisdom is for everybody. Ask for it, pray for it, look for it, expect it, and then go out and do something about it. Okay? Faith without works is what? A very dead thing. And so go out in your faith and pursue. Look for it. Hit me up. Talk to me. Ask me. I'm the one making this podcast episode. I ain't far. iamthepossible.com. All right. Hit me up, man. Send me an email. Connect. Ask me a question, right? Don't lurk in the shadows. Don't hang out in the shadows. If you're not where you want to be in life, if you're not the father that you want to be, if some of this stuff is hitting home for you and you need help, stop hanging out in the shadows, man. Hit me up, bruh. Holler at your boy. Okay, this is what I do professionally. I love you and I want to help you. All right. But I have a mentor for every area of my life, man. Every area of my life. Why? Because I want specialties, or should I say specialists? I want a specialist. When I go to the doctor, if I got, and I'm trying to think of one. Okay, if I got a foot problem, I don't want to go to family medicine. I got a foot problem. I want to go to orthopedics. Why? Because orthopedics, all they do is think about feet. They know that foot inside and out. Now that family medicine guy, they may know something about, they may know a little about everything. But when you start going to a subspecialty, now you're hitting very specific areas of your body. And those doctors, all they do is that given part of your body. And so I think of mentorship in the same way. I don't want to just go to anybody. I don't know that you're strong in finances. So I want to go to the guy who got some money, who's doing well in real estate or investing or whatever it is, right? I'm just giving you an example. But I don't want to go to just anybody with anything. If it's spiritual, I got somebody. If it's financial, I got a guy, right? I know a guy, right? If it's physical, I know a guy. If it's about this area, I know a guy. If I want to share about my marriage, I know a guy. Find men who are doing well in the area of life that you want to do well in, and ask them out for a cup of coffee, or invite them out for a cup of coffee. And I'm just giving you an example. It ain't got to be a cup of coffee. You might not drink coffee, but you get what I'm saying. You don't go asking for them to do anything for you. You're the one in need. Start with a gift. Start with a gift. Show yourself friendly. You want friends? The Bible says you want a friend? Show yourself friendly. Start with a gift. Start with giving. Sow into their lives. Hey, brother, I see some things in you. I admire you. Let me take you out for dinner. Let me take you out for lunch. Let me take you out for whatever. And I just want to pick your brain. I'm a young brother trying to do well in life. I'm a young father trying to be a model to my children for the next generation. I'm a young dad trying to whatever. And I see some good things in you. Would you give me 30 minutes of your time, man? It would be a great investment in my life. And I'll promise to honor you. This is something that I've always told my mentors. I've always looked them in the eye and I've made them this vow. I have vowed to them this. When they're mentoring me, I always tell them the greatest gift I can give a teacher, because they're teaching me, they're pouring into me. I said, the greatest gift that I could give a teacher is to execute on their instructions. That's it. That's it. You would be surprised, because men want to mentor other men. Men want to pour in. Men want, again, going back to that contribution, that cause. Men want to know that they're making a difference in this world. And sad enough, sometimes the only difference that they feel like they can make it is a negative one, because they haven't been told that they can make a positive one. And that's my job. That's what I'm here for. So I hope and pray that that makes sense. So let's recap, guys. You are a father and you want to raise a successful child or successful children. You want them to be the best they can be. You want them to shoot for the stars, man. You want them to live a high quality life. You want them to make a difference in the world. You want them to be happy. You want them to feel good about themselves. The three things that you as the father need to do for you in front of them. Let's recap. Have a cause. have control, have community. Guys, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm believing in you. Let's do this thing, man. Let's do this thing. You can be the father that you want to be. You can. You can be the role model that you want to be. You can. And you can have the family and the children that you want. You can. And I believe you will. And again, I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. Shoot me an email, man. Holla at your boy. I'll hit you back. I'm here for you. Guys, yeah, more to come. More to come, brothers. More to come specifically for you. All right? So that's it, man. Thank you so much for rocking with me here in the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Here in the I Am the Possible universe, the place where possibilities become perspective. I is your host, Treveal C.W. Lynch, Mr. What. More than anything, I am a brother who loves you, who's praying for you, who's believing in you, man, who's cheering you on, man. And listen, if this hit home for you and you know some other brothers that it'll hit home for too, share. Let them know. Share it with them. Tell them about it. Listen to it with them. Watch it on the tube with them. Let other brothers know. Each one teach one. Each one reach one. Let's get this thing done, man. All right? Until next time, brothers, right here, let's continue to regulate. Right here, let's continue to innovate. Right here, let's continue to elevate. Continue to be encouraged. And as always, yes, and most importantly, continue to be your possible. God bless y'all, man.